Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Live from Beyond. Once again, we're playing Apocalypse Worlds in a campaign, I guess, that's kind of been named Rotten Skies. We have a new player today, so we'll do a little introduction for Dave's character and his connections to the rest of the group. I guess just to set the scene here a little bit, what had been established. So what's going on in this post-apocalyptic world is that our group, our cast here essentially are floating through the skies on this cobbled together, I guess, city, this hold, which is essentially made of a series of floating ships. Well, I guess one slightly larger one and then a bunch of smaller ones tagged onto the side, and they're all just kind of...
And that other really large one that's like not as large and cool, but is pretty important.
A gigantic organ?
There is one significant one on the side.
Yeah.
But generally imagine some cobbled together like fleet of ships, all floating through the sky because the ground is covered in a toxic fog that is pretty much universally known to swallow up and kill whatever enters it. So the ground is somewhat off limits. So what's kind of left of post-apocalyptic humanity survives floating through the skies, and some people have banded together under the leadership of Mr. Cheval. I guess you being perhaps one of them, but we'll find out some details. So why don't we get a little introduction of your character, Dave, and then we'll see how he fits into all this.
Sure. My character's name is Quell. He's a much older gentleman. Age is kind of hard to guess, but he's got shoulder length gray hair, very wrinkled face, kind of deep set, calm eyes. Wears gray robes, kind of loose-fitting robes, and he's got a very calm person, and he, I think, has basically, as a water bearer, has maybe a ship that is part of the city there that is...
He's not a water bearer, he's the water bearer.
He's the water bearer, right? So I guess, maybe the only source of clean water for the city.
I would imagine so.
For the floating city.
So can I just ask, like, semi out of character or whatever? Is that what the water bearer is? Because I don't remember the playbook.
Apparently, that's kind of what the water bearer is that you have water, which I guess nobody else has.
And you bear it.
He's I think that the kind of point of the water bearer is that he is like the source of like potable water in the area, in the world, and he has some amount of control over it. It kind of... Okay. I guess we'll see exactly how that manifests here.
Right. I'm a little unsure how, because the water bearer has laws, right? Where everybody's, I guess, supposed to obey these laws if they want water. I don't know how that's really going to work. How that's going to play in with the hard hold.
Well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure. Obviously, it all fits together, right?
It all fits together.
I imagine there might be a need for the water bearer to exist within some society, and that society needs water. So there's probably some amount of coexistence, right? And if they have to sacrifice little children or something like that, then we'll have to pay a price.
Wow.
Right.
I guess that's all true.
Yeah.
Damn.
So yeah, I know the water bearer has a source of the water.
Yes.
Is that something you want to...
believe the source is... basically, Quell manages a kind of intricate system of stills and tarps to collect the moisture out of the air. So it's a kind of a large operation that's set up
So you're like some kind of moisture farmer.
Yeah. You might say that. So yeah, the source is large. It's an operation, and there's lots of kind of moving parts to it. Pipes and plumbing and catch tarps and basins and all that. And it's overseen. Quell kind of is the only one that knows how to properly work the thing.
So you don't even have people that work for you. You're literally the only person who knows how to get water out of the air.
There are 3 people that, in the character process, they tell you to kind of detail 3 friends that may or may not help you out. So I have 3 friends that kind of work alongside me, but don't actually possess the ability to truly pull the water from the air like I do.
They don't know all the goings on. They just have jobs. What are their names?
Kem is a brewer, and so he makes certain potions with the water. Treetop is a healer and has learned several rituals to perform with the water to help bring healing. And Jasper is he's the weird one.
The weird one.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Gotta have a weird one. That's how this. That's
Wild
the
card.
rules.
You gotta have a wild
We
card.
don't make the rules, but we play by them.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So now we know. So the source, I guess, I imagine the source is kind of one of these many ships that's all cobbled together in.
That's my feeling about it.
The hold, by the way, is called this cobbled together, traveling. Whatever you want to call it, is called the Big Time. That's the name of it.
The Big Time. I like that.
All right. So, is there anything else? So you have a couple of friends. You have a source.
I have a couple friends. Have a source. I can go over the laws that I had loosely, but I'm feeling maybe we just kind of.
We should get to those.
Yeah. Why don't we get to that? Why don't we do your HX moves?
Sure. Should I just go through the questions that I do, or are people going to introduce themselves as well?
You do all of yours pretty much.
All
and
right.
if somebody is not, I guess this usually is going to govern your HX for them, right? And if that doesn't somehow give them an HX value, I think everybody gets to, at the end of the day, choose what your HX value would be for Quell. You can either choose +1 or -1, depending on whether you want to know him or not know him. So yeah, why don't you just go ahead and do your moves, and we'll figure out at least what you have.
Sure. So, which one of you once gave me water in the wilderness? Real or metaphoric?
Wait, metaphorical water?
I mean, I feel like the show gives people metaphorical water all of the time. That's the show makes it rain.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. The show definitely.
I appreciate that. The show. You and I, will get
Mr. The Show.
Yeah,
Mr. Show.
Everyone,
I believe it's
belongs
Mr. The Show
to
team.
Yeah.
And which one of you, like me, serve the source?
I mean, I guess it's going to be me, although I feel like it's more like Kefri. But
I would be down with imparting that on Kefri and Kevin.
Kefri.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, he's weird. He could serve some weird purpose.
He's very weird. Yeah.
We'll make a collective decision for Kevin in his absence.
It's what he gets for not being here.
Yeah, that's what happens.
All right, that is basically it. That is it. Finish. All right, and then I guess if anybody, I don't know if you guys need to ask me questions, but that is.
I think we kind of already used our options on people, so
Right.
I'm just I got my regular history that I'm supposed to have with you, and
Okay.
The show asks no questions.
yeah, the show has got like a different thing going on.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I guess if you guys have rules that otherwise govern what your HX would be for its people that don't have a special connection, you can just assign that. And if you have nothing by the way of
Right.
that, then it's just a +1, I think.
so then
That's
can
kind
the
of the
show indicate by, motion perhaps, or, look, which stat he finds to be the most interesting?
Ah, yes. The show would like Quell to be sharp.
Excellent.
Sharp as a tack. Or perhaps a knife? At the very least, a blender.
Alright.
Excellent.
I will choose cool for you. Quell.
Okay.
So dare we
Uh,
tell Dave who we are before he decides which
also,
one of us he's going to speak for?
Cheval, I need to know what your HX is with Quell because I just copied
Uno.
that. Okay, +1.
Alright, so yeah, why don't you guys give a quick rundown of yourselves and your characters?
All right, I'm Nick. I'm like from New Jersey. We've met before, but I like to play role-playing games, and
Who?
I really like Apocalypse World. I stream a lot on Live from Beyond. I'm here like all the fucking time.
Not nearly
At
enough.
least once a week.
Yeah, and I'm playing some guy named Cheval.
Deep.
Cheval's like
Jesus
essentially
Christ.
the leader of the big time. He's an interesting fellow. He doesn't go out in public. So like the main ship that Kim was talking about, the really big ship, that's where like the famous market is that draws people from all over the sky like to come here. That and the fact that sometimes we like force them to come here so that they can give us stuff. But Cheval does not go out onto that main ship very often. But when he is seen in public, you'll see his mishmash of brightly colored clothes of all sorts of like cuts and styles thrown together, and always with his shiny Carmen Sandiego hat on top. And that's about it. He's just a mysterious leader of the big time.
And who has the most HX with you at this moment?
Who has the most HX with me at this moment? The person who knows me the best in that sense is Kefri, the man who has betrayed and stolen from me both. And
All right,
the man
well,
who I trust
choose-
Jeffrey's not here, so choose someone else.
He escaped at the end of last session, and nobody's seen him since. So
Ran off into the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have the same exact HX with both me and the show for reasons you'll just find out. So I will say that the show knows me better this time, and perhaps you know the show a little bit better.
I see.
I guess by process of elimination.
well, this
Okay.
is also this is for who gets to choose a stat for you. So
No, I know, that's
Indeed.
what I'm saying, because that way, I guess Aaron will choose mine, and Dave will choose Aaron's.
sounds good.
The show would like to see Cheval get hard. If you know what I mean.
I do. Also, I'm going to mark that down on my sheet just in case.
Unrelated, but yes. Yes.
Kimmy?
I'm gonna need Cheval to stay sharp.
All right, nice.
Hard and
Let's see
sharp.
if he can- Yeah.
Also, just
That's
like
how-
a blender.
All right. I really want to hear about the show again, so let's get to
Give us
it.
a rundown.
The show is the show. What more needs to be said, really? He's magnetic, glamorous. She loves making noise for the people with her huge organ aboard the flying airship. And also, she has just had an egg stolen from him. And he will retrieve that egg at whatever cost is necessary. Does that make sense to you? Does that answer all of your questions?
It will have to, I think.
It doesn't answer all my questions, but like,
I feel like it has rather asked a whole lot of questions.
I mean, if you've never been to one of the shows, then like you're really missing out.
The shows.
Yeah, the shows. The Mr. The shows.
We just call it the show.
Yeah.
The show starring the show. All right.
No, it's all just
The Big Show.
no.
Well,
That's
it's the show on the big time.
yeah, exactly.
The Big Time Show.
No.
I feel like you're not getting this.
We're going to have a
Oh,
problem.
I'll get him one of these
Water
times.
bear. We'll give him a little bit of leeway because we need his water. I think.
This is what comes of drinking too much water.
Yeah, seriously.
It's cucumber water.
Who's
Jesus.
That's even worse.
Oh, I can't say Jesus Christ because then Jesus Christ is going to appear
You
with the 12
rang.
apostles and like think I'm talking to him.
who's choosing a stat for you?
All right,
show.
Quell, stat me.
The show, as always, needs to be weird.
The show will do his best.
I think the show needs to be hot and weird.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, if we
The
ever
show-
choose anything other than hot and weird for the show, like,
It's
come on.
always hot and weird. But I appreciate your vote of confidence.
All right.
Like, if we can sum up for you, Quell, what happened last time, it's that the show went looking for an egg.
Not any egg.
The largest
largest
egg.
egg.
The largest egg that there
At
was
the big
on the
time.
big time. Found the largest egg in the hands of the woman who had just purchased it, who essentially would not give it up. Kefri came and got involved because, like, duh.
He was there.
Yeah, exactly. Kefri was like nearby, and it was a thing. And there's also some trouble brewing in like a corner of the market where Cheval believes that there might be some skimming of profits or perhaps some robberies going on, and he wants to make sure everything's okay in his domain. But literally, the egg thing was like 90% of the session.
It
Fair
was
enough.
the most important thing that happened.
Yeah, it was the biggest egg.
All right.
These things are hard to come by.
So
That they are.
here's my question. When is the last time that the show went on, that there was a performance?
Last
Isn't
night.
the show kind of always going on?
That is insulting. The show goes on when the time is right, which was last night.
Does it go on
Right.
every night?
No, but
It was
last
last
night
night.
the show went on.
But like, I think it goes on as often as it can.
All right. So the show went on last night, even though the show had obviously not had the egg that he needed, that he desired.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I meant the night before the egg incident.
Oh, okay,
Maybe
that's last night.
2 nights ago. That was why the show required the large egg to come back from the show.
Yeah. So that begs the question that I think we'll pose to Cheval is something was a little off with the show last night. Something was just not quite right. What was it?
Do you mean the show or the show?
I think he means the show.
Of course. How could I have gotten that wrong?
Yeah. Just as an FYI, before I answer your question, I did I rolled for my start of session move because it seemed like we
Oh,
were
that's
basically
true.
starting.
Oh yeah.
We
and
are starting.
I only got a 9, which means that we've got plenty of wealth here. I can keep the show as happy as usual, but we've got a want that
Oh.
is coming into play, which I think means that I've got to choose one of my wants, and I tell you that so that it's affecting the session, right? Is that essentially the way it is?
You choose a want or I choose a want?
It says choose one want, so I assume that means me because it says you. It says you have a surplus, but choose one want.
Okay.
guessing.
I guess your wants are hunger, disease, reprisals, strangers, and savagery times 2.
Yeah, the savagery times 2 is the thing that's like beckoning to me, especially because it's times 2. So I think savagery is the want of this week's show.
Fuck
Not
is
the
savagery
show.
times 2?
I have two,
Double the savagery.
I have 2 different things for which the want.
Essentially has like 2 sources of savagery.
So I want to like really make sure that there's savagery going on. Anyway, yes, that is the want that I'm going to lay upon you, Kim, for the session.
All right, savagery. I got it.
Anyway, what went wrong with the show last night? Really, what went wrong with the show last night is something that the show...
Not went wrong. A little bit off. Let's use the correct verbiage here, Cheval.
Okay, something that the show itself would not normally notice. But I think that for the very first time, somebody else in the crowd noticed it because somebody left the show before it was over. And that is like... I mean, first of all, like, there's nothing fucking else to do on this flotilla. So, like, why would you leave the show early? But also, like, why would you leave the show early? So that was what was slightly awry.
Profoundly disappointed that you decided on that and did not choose reprisals as the want. Because... I want reprisal.
I mean, savagery. Savagery is just another road on the same overall highway.
And I don't know if I want savagery times 2 reprisal. That seems a little extreme. Like if we just said savagery, then yeah, I'd be in. But like
double
times
savagery.
2?
I mean, it's more like it's that there could be savagery coming from more than one angle, maybe. Right?
Is this like who savages the savages? Is that what's going on here?
It could be a clash of savagery. There's no doubt.
I can tell you that the person that left the show early was the woman who bought the egg, but Quell was the only one who saw. So I don't know that that's the
well. That was going to be my next question to Quell. The person who left was somebody you knew. Let's hear about that person.
Yeah, hear about it, Quell.
Unfortunately, it's true. The person that left was Jasper, and he's weird.
Oh, he's the weird one.
I ordered him away on weird business.
Ordered him away, and did Jasper object to this?
He never objects.
He does as he's told.
Must follow the law.
There's no, and then so I have one other question for you. So there's some laws here surrounding the source, right? I guess presumably some which are known and maybe some which are lesser known. What is like the one law that everybody's aware of that nobody dares break?
Leave your grudges outside.
All right. The source is kind of sanctuary.
Yes.
Otherwise known as like your reprisals. Just leave them outside.
No savagery on the source.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, maybe we'll find out the other laws later on. All right. So the show I guess it was mentioned that the show might not have noticed at the time that somebody left early. Is that true? And if not, did the show find out later?
The show did not notice at the time because the show was enraptured in the process of making sweet music. But that is what Jesus and the 12 apostles are for, my dear. And the show has been told of the entire situation, and the show knows. And the show does not forgive.
Alright. So, as you said, where we left off last time, the show had tried to get this egg from some weird lady, from I think it was Mercer, the egg merchant. When Kefri came in and did some weird psychic stuff that kind of, I think he like spewed beetles all over everybody. It was kind of a source of great discomfort and weirdness.
And he kind of like brain probed them.
He brain probed. He tried, certainly. He tried. And then when like shit was about to go down, one of the guards. There's I guess for Quell's benefit, I'm sure he would be aware. There's a group of enforcers, guards aboard the Big Time called the Dusters, led by a set of captains or lieutenants, whatever they're called, whatever their rank is. I guess that are identical twins. One is named Feather, and the other one is Lala. I guess Feather being a man and Lala being a woman. Anyways, Lala came over to...
Dusters?
Yeah, the Dusters. They're my gang. You got a problem with that?
No, I just think the other one should have been named Crop.
Oh, that would have been good.
I don't know that like Feather Duster could handle another pun challenging his authority.
Sorry, continue.
So Lala had come over and essentially scared off Kefri, who ran off into the crowd and hasn't been seen since. I guess the show is disappointed. He didn't get his egg, and now he's had to fight off some beetles. What does he do next?
Or she.
It.
The hunt for breakfast must continue. One cannot simply give up and eat beetles. That would be degradé.
Too true.
But the show has had his appetite put off of eggs. She needs something different, something more Mexican.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We will require 3 tomatillos. No more, no less. Exactly 3 tomatillos. The show will look.
So I mean, I don't think the show has to look that far or ask that hard, because Lalo would be able to tell you that recently Cheval was very lucky to completely peacefully acquire the head chef from a much smaller and less noble flotilla called La Flotilla, and he's brought the head chef of La Flotilla on board, and she serves in the market at his will to all that come with coin in hand.
The show does not use coin. The show will simply mention Cheval's name.
I mean, that may very well be, and I guess we'd have to see what happens. But I can tell you, I guess the problem is that I don't happen to remember offhand what Quell remembers, which is the name of the head chef from La Flotilla.
Ah, Madame Diaz. But of course.
Madame Diaz. Good old MD. Yeah, so show, I guess... I'm just saying, if you want, you could find Madame Diaz's restaurant, which when you get there, you'll see the awesome name of. I mean, I assume it's called like
La
Tortillas from
Flotilla,
La Flotillas.
Well, I imagine that like this is just La Flotilla was just a ship that was essentially like come
Like a
upon
restaurant barge.
and like attached onto the side of the Big Time, and
Yeah, it's like that guy in Fifth Element who like serves Chinese food or whatever to Bruce Willis in his like floating restaurant.
Yes.
Well, the show proceeds to La Flotilla.
all right, we'll come back to that. So let's.
I don't know. I want to go there right now. I'm hungry.
The show wanders off and in look for La Flotilla. What is Quell up to this day?
Quell is managing the stills and packaging water. Everybody comes to get water usually at some point, and it's a large operation to ensure that the people are kept hydrated.
So say, I think today there seems to be a lot of people there, all trying to get water at the same time. How's Quell handling this?
He's calm about it and taking people one at a time. He never lets more than 8 people inside the ship where the source is at any one point, and his helpers know that they have to screen everybody that comes in, and everybody knows the rules. So he doesn't stress about it. If people don't get the water that day, that's not his problem, but he wants to make sure that everybody gets what they want.
All right, so you're kind of, I guess the source is kind of covered, so you can't really see what's going on the inside. Is that what I understand? Okay. So you're inside. It's kind of, I guess, peaceful. Stills are pumping away. You can hear kind of the grinding of machinery and dripping of water as it's kind of being collected in vats, I imagine. Yep. When you seem to hear like yelling from the outside. And
like savage yelling?
Like it seems like it like starts like just a couple of voices. You can't really hear it because it's like the door is closed off to the little sanctuary that is like the water collection area. But it seems like it like rises up, and after like as you, I guess, perk up to try to figure out what it is, let's say Kem kind of like comes in and slams the door behind him, and with heavy breathing he says, it's madness out there. I don't know what it is, but it seems like everybody, like nobody seems to be able to form an orderly line. You might have to go out there and lay down the law.
Well, those riots.
Okay, Kem. Stay here. Don't let anybody in. I'll go see to this.
Quell, how long have you been on the big time?
Quell's been on the big time for 30 years.
Damn. All right, nice.
For a long time. Quell goes out to the front room and reads the sitch, I suppose.
Sure.
So decisive.
Let's see, and that is sharp.
What'd you get?
3.
Okay.
Ooh,
That's
no good.
No, it's not very good.
So you still get to ask a question, but I guess you have to prepare for the worst. So I don't know if you're looking at the read a sitch move, but there's a list of questions, and I don't know if you have a particularly good one, you can make one up yourself.
I don't have it in front of me. My question was going to be, can I see the source of agitation in the crowd?
Yeah, so you get outside, and there just seems to be like way too many people. Usually, imagine maybe you'll have some kind of schedule worked out or something like that kind of make sure that only a certain amount of people come every day. You know, you gotta carefully ration all the water. But there seems to be like dozens of people out here, and you can't quite see, but towards the center of this crowd, there's like a huge guy yelling something about that he was here first, and some guy cut in line, and like this is his day, and he needs his water now. It's very important.
Quell goes up to him specifically and says, "Hello, my son. I see that you've come to collect water, and I certainly hope that I'll be able to serve you today. But as you know, you need to leave all of your grudges outside before you can have any water. And if you act like this, I will be forced to punish you.
So you've seen this guy before. His name is Corbett. He's usually, I mean, he's kind of a straight to the point guy, but he usually doesn't cause any trouble. He says, "Look, well, I'm not bringing any grudges in here. I just, it's very important. My little girl is sick. I need this water." And like he like points at like a group of people, and you can't really pick out who exactly he's pointing at. He says, "That guy was trying to cut in line. Like I know you like to keep it. You can run a tight ship over here, Quell. So I wasn't gonna let that go."
Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Come with me, and Quell will bring him inside and get him water.
All right, as you bring him in, there's like a groan from the other part of the group. And you can hear like moaning and some faint voices saying like, "What is he talking about? He's lying."
He doesn't even have a daughter.
I ignore it.
All right. All right. So you bring him inside, and give him water. What is Cheval doing? Let's say you can. You're up there at your window, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, so Cheval, as we saw last time, kind of surveys his flotilla a lot and makes sure that things are running smoothly. But he definitely keeps an eye on the water barge because not only is that incredibly vital to the way that the big time runs, but he looks out for Quell. Right, Quell's been here 30 years and is like a very, very trustworthy member of the group. I even have him like serve on the market council, which is like basically just for show, but I still let him on it.
Okay.
So yeah, I look at it and every morning as I do all those other things that terrify me, I also check on the water barge. And I see this morning that there's stuff going on, and I immediately call for Lala.
How do you call for Lala? Do you like send a runner, or is there some system of communication on board the big time?
No, there's a system of communication, but like it's not like we all have intercoms. I communicate with like what, for lack of a better term, is like the guard posts for the core of the dusters that Lala commands that keeps peace in the market. They've got like a booth, if that's what you want to call it, and like somebody's always there, and I'm like, it's me, Cheval. Fucking get Lala up here, and they've got to find her.
Okay, but you're calling Lala to your office, not to the source.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I call her to my office.
Okay, all right. So yeah, they know like shit's got to be urgent if you're calling, so they like promptly go find her, and not 5 minutes later, she knocks on your door.
I say, enter.
The door swings open and there's Lala. Does you called, boss?
Yeah, I say, ooh, Lala. I say, come over here to the window.
She rolls her eyes and approaches.
I like completely notice her rolling her eyes, but ignore it because that's fucking Lala, and if I need to, I'll just have her executed. I say, Lala, tell me what you see when you look over there by the water barge.
There seems to be a little bit of trouble going on over there.
Exactly. A bit of trouble. Is that not your domain? Have I not told you that cucumber water is what brings people to the big... No other flotilla has cucumber water. I alone have captured Quell for the last 30 years to make the best water in the skies. Now go! Fix it!
He says, but boss, you know we're not supposed to interfere over there unless Quell calls for it.
I did not say to interfere. I just said to fix it. You don't have to bother Quell with this. You could just move some of those people along or down to the surface or whatever it is you need to do. But let's fix that, shall we?
Says, understood, boss. Right away.
Yeah, I roll my eyes at her, like, real hard.
Yeah, it's just so used to that.
Yeah.
All right, so she grabs a couple of guards on the way out. I guess the show, you see Lala and probably like half a dozen dusters come like kind of jogging by you as you are being handed your 3 what was it, tomatillos? Yeah, you're
Excellent.
just as you're being handed the 3 most like perfect tomatillos you've ever seen.
The biggest ones on the ship.
No, I didn't say that. I just needed 3. Exactly 3. No more or less.
You see these guards come kind of jogging by in a rush towards the source.
Excellent. Dinner and a show. I'll follow them.
Isn't it breakfast?
It's whatever meal I say it is, honey.
I was just checking. I was just making sure.
All right, so yeah, you kind of wander behind the guards as they proceed over to the source, which is right nearby. I imagine the source is kind of a fairly central fixture of the big time, so it's not far from the market, and you see Lala kind of like call out to this crowd. It seems to be kind of arguing with each other. To disperse, or she's gonna have everybody removed, and nobody really seems to be like paying attention to her as they're busy with their infighting. I guess do you want to try to read the sitch?
It's just like, I don't fucking care.
I'll see what happens.
Just want to see what happens. All right. So Lala has like 0 patience for that, and like gives this signal for the dusters to move in, and they have these like makeshift clubs, and quickly they just like grab people and use these clubs to like separate them and put them down. So Quell, like you're busy giving Corbett his water. He's very thankful that he's getting this. He keeps profusely thanking. He's like, "Oh, Quell, you're the reason that this whole this whole thing stays afloat. I couldn't thank you enough. Just anytime you need anything, don't hesitate to ask." And as he's going on and on, suddenly the kind of arguing outside turns to screaming and yelling and the sounds of a struggle.
Corbett, of course, you're welcome anytime. Please tell your daughter that I say hi, and I hope she feels better. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go see to this. Quell walks outside.
Thank you.
And sees Lala and sees the dusters and walks towards the dusters and in a slightly louder voice says, "Please take your hands off them. Have you forgotten the rules?"
So I have a feeling that there's a move here.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, could yeah, go. What rules?
I guess as long as there's not like some actual like source move, which I haven't read through, so I'm not quite sure. This might be like a manipulate.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
I think it
could be a law. Yeah, this could be a water bearer move because they're kind of breaking my laws right now.
It could also be go aggro. I mean, like, you're making it clear what you want someone to do.
But I mean, if there's
you know.
definitely if there's a water bearer move, then
Yeah, I mean, there's a
Bear
water
on.
bearer move called Lawbringer, which
You
would
wanna-
happen whenever someone breaks the
You wanna-
laws.
Okay, so you,
usage here.
I think it'll probably either be that or go aggro. So if you want to bring some laws, I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna.
For it.
They need to be brought, and I'm gonna brought them.
All right. So what law are they breaking here?
They are breaking the do no violence and no intentional harm.
Yeah, they're certainly breaking that. There are some people getting a mighty beatdown right now.
Yep.
So why
Savage
don't you?
beatdown.
I guess you're rolling plus cool. All right, let's see what happens.
Yes.
All right, so you get a partial success.
Ah.
So on a 7 to 9, they must face the full penalty. On a miss. Oh, so sorry. So on a 10 plus, you choose. On a 7 to 9, they must face the full penalty. On a miss, if you are unable to enact judgment for any reason. Okay. So what is the penalty?
The penalty for no violence is typically disfigurement.
Unfortunately, they're also horribly disfigured already.
Can you really disfigure the disfigured? Is there any way to go from there?
Yeah.
But I do have I don't know how, well, I do have a good relationship with Cheval, and as these are Cheval's men breaking the law, I do have
I don't know.
inkling to lighten the penalty, but it does say,
The rule does say
The
they
full-
must face the full penalty.
yeah, it does.
So,
it does.
Let's say so
It is a law.
you walk out there and you tell them that but they have to stop. They're breaking the law. And it takes like a second for like your words and them to kind of stop as it kind of they all like stand up and see you. And you can see the dusters kind of get these like worried looks over their faces because they're probably well aware of what the penalty is. And you can see that they're kind of glancing to Lala, and Lala like steps up in front of them and says, "It looked like you were having some trouble here. Cheval sent me down to help you out. Excuse the men; they were only following orders."
Lala, my child, you know the rules. I cannot be lenient. This would be madness.
Look, we're doing you a favor. I don't understand, Quell.
The
If you have
water
a
barge is always noisy at times. People want water. There is only one place to get it. But there must never be violence.
says, "Look, I think you're gonna have to take it up with Cheval."
I will do no such thing. These men will be punished.
Says,
I
"Look,
summon Kem with
Alright,
the
yeah.
acid water.
Yeah, sure. Kem is
And also just called cucumber water.
Kem is always ready with the acid water.
Of
course. So he steps out, and so describe Kem to us real quick. What does he look like, and how does he dispense acid water? Usually,
Kem's a shorter, partially balding guy, younger than Quell, and he's got like gnarly warts on like like a lot of his face. He's not pretty to look at. He stays inside most of the time, and he walks with a bit of a limp. But he dresses very plainly, and he brings over a vial of this acid water,
Mhm.
and the typical punishment is mainly just to have several drops put on the face as a lasting mark for those who have broken the rules.
All right. So as
So
Kem kind of steps forward with this vial, Lala shoots a glance up towards the main ship and Cheval's office, where she
Yeah, so-
imagines Cheval is looking down on this scene.
So, I mean, if I may, I was going to say that actually, when Lala looks up, the window is empty. She's sure that Cheval has, lost interest in what was going on over at the water. I might say this about the big time, though, that anybody, including Quell, would know that perhaps the full weight of laws such as his are required without fail to be brought down upon trespassers and violators. But I think Quell would know that no punishment of any kind is allowed on big time without Cheval's acquiescence as the actual law of the flotilla. So it's up to Quell, knowing that, to decide when and how to mete out punishments. This is not the first time the situation has come up, but
And Cheval knows that we have a long-standing disagreement about how these punishments are to be dealt with.
which is
I know his
exactly
views.
why, as Kem steps forward, you hear the murmurs of the crowd and a couple of gasps, and as they part away and you look, you see a Carmen Sandiego hat bobbing towards you over the heads of those gathered around the source.
Yeah. So yeah, you could kind of hear the whispers like propagate through the crowd. It's like, is that him? It's like, when's the last time he came out? I don't think I've seen him in years. Oh my god! And as the crowd kind of parts, and lo and behold,
Cheval stands before you, Carmen Sandiego hat adorning a scowl, and below that his best, like, half blueprint flower dress and half yellow overalls that have been stitched together. And he comes towards you and he says, well, Quell, it's been too long, my friend.
Quell, what have we here?
What seems to be the matter?
Ah, Cheval, my son, it is so good to see you. It has been too long. Ah, as you can see, I am merely meting out justice as need be.
And pray tell, what justice need you dole out?
Well, as you can see, these men here brought violence into my water barge. I cannot have that. You know this.
And remind me again of the rule that says so on my flotilla?
Ah, we are on my water barge right now. And as I am the only source of water, these are my rules that we will follow.
And pray, just because it must have flown out of my brain, what is the rule?
The rule?
Yes.
No violence.
No violence ever, anywhere? That's interesting. Not
on this ship.
Not on this ship. So the rule is no violence on the barge. You haven't written down anywhere? Somewhere, does it say that anywhere, or is it just a thing you do?
Anyone who comes here knows the rules. You know this.
So no violence on your barge at all. And pray tell, what was it Kem was about to do to my man?
Ben.
He was going to teach him a lesson.
Some sort of peaceful conversation lesson, I suppose?
A lesson that is not easily forgotten.
I see. So
all those who learn the lesson find themselves better off and realize that this was not a damaging punishment. This was not pain or violence. This was an awakening, showing them the way, showing them that they can be better than they have.
And if I were to poll the crowd on whether or not this was violence you brought upon the face of my man, what do you think they would say?
I think they would know where their water comes from.
As do I, Quell. As do I. But I think also we know how the water stays here in the first place, and how it doesn't just tumble out of the air down to the gases below.
You've kept me here far too long to think that you could just throw me out now.
I agree. You, I would never throw out of the barge. Lala, toss Kem over the side.
I guess what is your response to that?
I heard him say,
I will say, Kem, go back inside into the water, into the source.
So I think we need to have a roll here, I think. And I think it's almost more of a battle of wills between you guys. I don't really want to.
You don't want to roll 2 NPCs?
Well, yeah, there are no real rules for rolling for the NPCs.
Yeah, I don't think so. All up to that GM.
So, I don't know. I kind of think Cheval should go aggro.
Okay. I mean, whatever you want, GM really is like, it's okay with me. Alright. I'm gonna roll that Gagro. I got a 9.
Oof.
Alright, so I guess you get to choose.
Oh yeah, sorry, I have the moves up actually. I could just look that up, couldn't I?
Well, so now it's the other person has to
they
choose.
can
The
choose.
NPC
Yeah.
has to choose. Yeah.
Which I guess like what's his Quell chooses for him, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think Kem will take his order, and he kind of, as soon as Lala makes a move, he scurries into the source, and you can hear like a large like bolt like slide across the door as he barricades himself in there. So, meanwhile, the show is chomping down on his breakfast and enjoying a bit of entertainment. And things seems to be kind of getting to ahead here. Things are boiling up a little bit. What does the show think?
The show thinks that these two have been coexisting for quite a long time, and it's exceedingly odd that all of a sudden such an event would just boil up out of nowhere. And so the show lets his mind open to the music to see if perhaps something more nefarious is afoot.
Something savage.
Times.
Not just savage.
So yeah, I'm gonna open my mind to the brain to the world's psychic maelstrom.
Yeah,
Double
sure.
savage.
All right, let's get a weird roll here.
Oh, I'm excited.
All right, we got an 11. Very weird.
You know everything.
Which I think means that the MC tells me something new and interesting about the current situation and might ask me a question or two. I will answer them. And since it's a 10, you give me good detail.
I think you might have just learned the secret of cucumber water.
Oh.
No. That's not the way this works. Only one person knows the secret of cucumber water. I have learned the secret of tomatillo water.
Oh man.
And now I will set up my own competing source. No, okay, go ahead.
Well, so you you kind of float away, right? As a melody plays
That's
in the back of
dangerous.
your head. And you can kind of feel the energy from the crowd, and there seems to be you feel the urgency to get water all of a sudden, like all these people needing to get water at the same time, and your mind kind of snaps all of a sudden as a picture becomes clear. And you see a circle of hooded figures sitting in what seems to be the hold of a ship, chanting something ancient and forgotten. And in the center of them, there's a pedestal with like a little like crate thing, and in the middle you see an all too familiar egg. And you feel this kind of force of will, this compulsion, and an urge that seems to be emanating from this circle.
Wimboe, oh Wimboe.
The show's
You don't know what
eyes.
it means, but you hear it.
The show's eyes snap open, and everyone in the crowd hears him shout, "The egg!"
So everybody turns towards the show, who's just uttered the egg for apparently no reason at all.
The
I guess-
the show flounces his way over to Cheval and Quell's little showdown thing, and says, dears, I understand that there's something of a disagreement, but if the two of you would be so kind as to join me off to the side for a moment, I think there's a matter that might impress upon you the importance of the situation."
Interesting.
Do you
Very
guys,
well.
The show, so good to see you. Of course, please let us discuss.
Excellent.
Step into Quell's office or something like that?
I've just had the most remarkable vision. You see, I was wondering as I ate a lovely tomatillo.
From
Why?
La Tortilla?
Yes, from La
Brilliant that
Fortilla.
I brought it on board. Easy.
Oh,
It's a really wonderful restaurant, I
Madame
must
Diaz
say.
is a great friend of mine. I'm so glad you went.
Ah, excellent. I'm glad we're all getting along. Now, let me say, I was eating this tomatillo and thinking about violence. Because what is a tomatillo if not a violent fruit? And as I drifted on the strains of Beethoven's Symphony Number 12, I realized that somewhere there's a group of hooded figures trying to use the psychic maelstrom to do ill to us. Yea, indeed. Although sometimes there is a bit of a struggle about the water. We all know that no one would knowingly break your rules, Quell. That would be madness. We've gotten along for so long, so very well. Even I, who really know law, at least pretend to abide by your rules. And so what has gone so terribly wrong? Interference in the First Order. And I blame this largely on you, Cheval. I told Lala that letting that egg get away would do no good. And indeed, it appears to be the focus for all of this evil.
What is this egg?
Mercer had the most glorious large egg, and just as I was about to buy it, some evil she-devil swooped in and stole it away from me. And I knew then that she planned nothing good, only ill.
She-devil? Interesting. Do you not know her name?
Mercer could not think of it. He said she came in with some recent ship.
I see.
This is
Well,
alarming
well.
news.
How does this news spell upon you.
I'll allow it.
This is how
That's
Jamal
a
talks,
mistake.
alright? I can't help it. I'm not controlling the guy.
Okay.
You're just Nick from New Jersey. Like, this is no.
Bro, I just come on here and, like, shit happens.
Just black out for 2 hours.
Okay, I wish. Well, Quell, who tell?
It disturbs me to hear that you say such things. The show, the gathering in the dark of these people. I don't like the sound of it.
And this egg!
Indeed.
The egg.
So let me ask you this, Cheval.
Oh, yeah?
you-
Yeah.
I imagine you keep fairly meticulous track of the ships that kind of come and go. What I guess what recent ship kind of made you take a second glance? Gave you a little chill maybe, or a little feeling that something was a bit off.
Well, you see, when I brought Madame Diaz and La Flotilla here as a coup, a big win for the big time, the ship, the larger ship that she was brought upon, I had Feather take it by force. And there was always something fishy about that ship. It might have been the fish market on board, but I'm not sure. But I never trusted those corpses that he laid before me, or that there were not hidden smuggler-type compartments in there, as those fish markets people are wont to have.
Very interesting.
Slippery.
Like eels, if I knew what they were.
I hear that they're slippery.
Ooh. I turned to Quell. I mean, not me, but, Cheval, who I have no control over. And Cheval says, Quell, my dear, this was the most stimulating conversation I've had in years. Perhaps you could come to my chamber later and we'll discuss it further.
Cheval, it is simply too good to see you. You know, it's a shame you don't come and visit me as much as you used to. Of course, I will gladly pay you a visit later.
Good. I'm so delighted.
All right.
But to this egg business, this egg just has me so...
Indeed, it seems as though we are working with a rogue force on this big time. Perhaps I could use my influence to call this party to us. To set up a meeting, perhaps.
The rogue evil woman?
All must come to drink from the source. All are known to me. I must simply put out the call.
I believe that the show could play tonight, and it might be able to enhance the call.
So we're basically saying it's going to be like ladies' night at the source with no cover for the show. And you're just going to call all the women on the big time to you and figure out which one of them's evil.
So I've got the Peacemaker ability, and I can call for 2 rivals or enemies to come to me and meet and settle things.
Okay.
So if I labeled the show and the egg stealer as enemies, which I
That
presume they are,
Be
Which is
appropriate.
100% accurate.
100% true.
then they would come and meet at my call if I, roll well enough.
Nice.
All right. Sure. I guess how does this peacemaker thing work when you are not completely familiar with one party.
A great question. I mean, I only have. I was trying to look through the rule book to see if there's more details on it. I mean, it says when you call for two rivals or enemies to come to you and meet on a hit, they must both come at the time that you specify. But I'm trying to
you probably need to be able to, like, you know,
reach
call
them.
someone's name, right? Like
that. That's fair.
So let's say if you can
think
like
we're-
uncover the identity of this woman to be more than just that woman in the market, then you can call them as your, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Okay. You gotta know a little bit more about her first. You gotta find an identity of
So yeah,
sorts.
I think the question is, who is this woman?
indeed.
So the plan is for the show to go on.
Yes,
The show must go on.
the show must go on.
All right.
The show shall go on.
So as your little meeting here winds down, and I guess there's a mission unfolding, is Quell going to let the guards go for now, or is there still a matter to be settled vis-a-vis punishment?
What a question.
Cheval, you know, punishment still needs to be met.
Are we back on this, dear Quell?
Your men should never have come here with their
And you
violence
should
in
let
heart.
the crowds endanger the souls.
So, let me just say, Quell, I believe that maybe in this particular occasion, we might not show mercy, but withhold justice until an investigation can be made to see whether these people did violence of their own will or were coerced into it by a malign power. Because it does no good to punish the innocent who are merely being controlled by an evil force. One must indeed punish the truly violent. One would not punish the sticks with which they were hitting people. One would punish them if they were violent. So I suggest that we allow them to leave for now. They are the dusters, they go nowhere. And we try to find out what's at the root of this egg business. And then, once you have learned all, you may decide and perhaps come back to the question of punishment or mercy.
The show, as always, your words are well spoken and wise. I will allow them to leave, so long as they do not return. Ever.
An interesting proposition. Also, by the way, the show, what happens if I'm the evil person that coerced them to doing? Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter. That's totally unimportant. Let's not even explore that. Perhaps this could be arranged. Assuming I even knew these two impudent wretches' names, I could purposely banish them from the barge. However, you indicated that all are welcome at the source. Would you deny them water for the rest of their lives?
If needs be, I would. Justice must be met in order for the ship to continue to function as it is intended, and I cannot appear weak in front of the masses.
No, you must not appear weak ever. And Cheval gives you like a very, very appraising look. And it seems a bit admiring. But he says, we shall see. For now, guards, away.
You were going to say?
If this conspiracy is resolved and revealed, perhaps we can make amends with these dusters. I would not want to think of anyone going without.
All right.
Yeah.
But for now, they are banished.
All right. So Cheval
Speaking
with
of speaking of banished, there is one small issue. Quell, I hesitate to even bring it up, but I've been told that your man Jasper left
The weird
the
one.
show last night.
By the way, Cheval looks shocked when he hears that.
The show. If only I could tell you it were a lie. You see, Jasper is a weird one, and at the moment, he had communique from the Maelstrom, and it brought him away. I could not hold him back. It pains me.
I mean,
I was
come on.
there.
Who
And we're
among us
showing
has not
back-
been like, oh, I got to communicate from the Maelstrom. I got to go. Hey, come on. Come on.
that's I heard that one before a couple
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
It hurts me as well, but you know that I am one with the Maelstrom when I play. And certainly anyone can communicate and remain, and I'm afraid, as such, Jasper will no longer be welcome at the show. I'm so sorry, my dear friend. I know that you like him, but
He is weird.
rules are rules.
Everybody has their laws here.
It saddens me to hear this, but as you say, rules are rules, and I have my own. I'm sure he will be heartbroken, but he will live.
I mean,
Well,
can you live without the show?
That's what we're about to find out.
Yeah, it's a matter of opinion. But I mean,
Now,
Alright,
dears, I must away to prepare.
indeed. The meeting breaks up. Cheval waves off the guards with a little gesture. Lala ushers them off the ship. A couple of them seem relieved that they weren't about to get their faces disfigured with acid. I guess
Lala shoots like a regretful look toward the bolted door that Kem is behind.
and I guess everybody kind of goes their separate ways. And if there's nothing else, maybe we will cut to later that night when the show is about to go on.
Surely.
All right. Where do you want? Where are you thinking there, Kim? What's that? Are we with the show as it's about to go on?
Well, I imagine there's a I don't know. Is it a unique performance every time,
Of course.
or is there like a set list?
No, it changes every time. There are some songs that are played now and some songs that are played then, but it really, you have to see it every time.
There's a piece of paper taped to the floor of the organ, and she's got a question mark on it. It's just always there.
So when does it usually start? When it is scheduled, the show.
And it's the right time.
Usually starts the moment that the last light flees the world, not a moment before.
And I imagine this is the kind of thing that like everybody on the big time tries their darndest to be able to be in earshot of.
Indeed, all can hear to some extent or another, but
Except for
not
Jasper.
all.
Let's remember that. Except for Jasper. You did that. You did that.
Jasper can
Jasper did that.
Jasper can hear. He cannot attend. There's a difference.
In
You
fact,
see-
it's a crucial difference because it's probably like agonizing to hear the show and not be able to attend.
And when I play, I feel the air from horizon to horizon. And people miles away feel the vibrations. So one who is on the big time would not be able to be unaware. But is there a greater pain than to know the divine presence and be excommunicated? I think not.
So
You have to ask the 12 apostles.
Or Jesus.
Yeah, he might know.
So how is it arranged right around? So the show's rig, which I believe was named Encore, the Encore,
Yeah.
I guess.
Just on
Which is kind of it's kind of tethered to the big time on one edge, and right around it. How exactly are things arranged so people can come and behold?
Well, it is the kind
Do they actually
it's a
come
flotilla,
on?
So
They come
No
on
one-
the Encore?
no one can come on Encore because Encore doesn't really have any room for that. It's all organ pipes and amplifiers and like flame throwers and all kinds of stuff. But like, there's not really room.
A lot of pyrotechnics.
lot of pyrotechnics. But all of the parts of the big time and little ships of the big time that are near the place where Encore normally docks have either like kind of stands, like, so one might have a roof that has like on the outside of the roof there are stands kind of built into the roof, it's slanted roof, or they have decks that can be cleared and tents that can be set up and things like that. And so because being at the show is such a big thing, it is worthwhile for everyone who owns a piece of the big time near the show to make it possible for people to come by, either just to curry influence and overhear what people are saying, or maybe for a piece of jangle.
Sure, so people kind of have their little stands, they sell seats, or maybe if there's a couple of people there who are prominent, if you're friends with them, you get a seat or something like that. All right, I dig it.
If I may, I just want to point out, I want to remind everybody, especially Quell, of what we learned last time, which is that in this world, this post-apocalyptic world, things float, even heavy things like Encore, right? Just heavy metals and stuff can float. So actually, there's one additional way to view the show, and only the most diehard of fans, otherwise known as the showbirds, do this. But when Encore mainly untethers from the big time and kind of like floats off a distance to perform the show, you can still hook some lines from Encore onto the rest of the big time, and showbirds will actually like crawl out on those ropes, and with sometimes as little as a pinky hooked onto the rope, they will dance in midair to the show and hope that they do not come undone and left floating ever close to the big time, but growing ever further away until they wash off.
Summit getting swallowed up by the fog.
Yeah, the showbirds are the most dangerous, but the most enticing and the most exciting of the fans, the fanatics, if you will, of the show.
All right. Yeah. So, right, it's getting near time. I'm sure the show is kind of backstage or below decks or wherever he kind of psychs himself up and gets ready. People are kind of filing in. Said like the last bit of sunlight is kind of disappearing over the horizon, and things are kind of getting tense, getting electric. You can hear the crowd like murmuring and the sound rising, and as Cheval just said, like the Encore like unhooks a little bit and starts to like float off, and
That's when shit's about to get real.
Additional pipes seem to kind of deploy on the side of Encore as it kind of goes into like show mode, and what I guess the show give us a description of what happens when that last glimmer of sunlight disappears.
just as light leaves the world, and there's a dark blue one horizon and a slightly lighter blue on the other horizon, a huge burst of flame shoots up from the deck of Encore as the ropes are cast away and Encore floats upwards and away from the main big time. Showbirds hitching themselves on and floating out in the throes of ecstasy already. And as the flamethrower lights die down and the people's eyes are blinked and get rid of the shadows of the flames which have temporarily blinded them, on Encore already are the show, Jesus Christ and the 12 Apostles. And the show turns to the two men. Oh yeah, by the way, Dave, the 12 Apostles is the name of one guy. Jesus Christ is one guy, and the 12 Apostles is the other guy. They're just two guys.
These are co-performers of the show.
They're really good.
Backup musicians slash bandmates slash I don't know, whatever else.
The 12 Apostles alone does the work of like a baker's dozen of men.
Indeed. And so the big time in their eyes, the show turns to the two men and says, "The voyage home." And then he turns around to the organ and he cracks his fingers, gestures, and begins to play manically, like some cross between Johann Sebastian Bach and Marcel Dupree. Fingers racing over the keys as the sound increases in a crescendo, and just as it reaches its crescendo the first time, Jesus Christ belts in, howling like Ronnie James Dio in full voice, and is joined by the 12 Apostles crooning like Frank Sinatra, staring out at the crowd. And as the music rises, the sound that you hear is the sound that the last whale heard when it sang and no one answered. So, MC, I'm gonna crack open the world.
Yeah, do it.
While you're doing that, I just want to point out that just as the show was like, the fingers were like about to hit the keys for the first time, a showbird just fainted dead and had to be crowd surfed past back along the rope onto the deck of a nearby ship.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so I got an 8, which means I suffer 1 harm AP loud, which is fine.
I think that's like probably what happens to you every time there's a show.
I prefer it that way. Really, if you're wearing earplugs, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
This place, basically all of the big time, becomes a mirage. The impulse on a mirage is to entice and betray people. And now I ask you what happens.
Sorry, let me read this real. This place becomes a prison, also contained to deny egress. Entice and betray. All right, so I guess everybody who is watching, sees a landscape. Like kind of the big time disappears, and instead of sudden, you are at like the largest, most grand like concert hall you could ever imagine, right? And there on the stage is the show and Jesus and the 12 Apostles, and like seemingly like playing every instrument and singing this impossible song, and out in front of them is just like an endless crowd, right? And as people look around, it seems like there's just people for miles, right? This impossible crowd. And as the music reaches its crescendo, and you see the strained and look on the show's face as he kind of like gets to the very height of it, there's a like a burst of energy goes out because I think it says everybody suffers one harm, right?
No, that's
Whatever you
if
want
I
to
miss.
say.
Oh, that's only on a miss. Yeah,
And
79 is
that's
just
only everyone within reach of me. So basically, on a partial hit, I get hurt. On a miss, the band gets hurt too, and then on a hit, no one gets hurt. I assume that's what it means by reach. I mean, maybe it means like
Yeah, I was
sound
gonna say
reach.
you did say you play from horizon to horizon, so maybe like
I don't know what reach means. I don't know if reach is supposed to be literal or is just supposed to be metaphorical.
yes.
I I think reach pretty much means that it's not like it has distance, right? It's not like a specific thing. It's just that it's more than like people in your immediate like arm reach.
Reach.
Okay. Well, it's a moot point because I didn't miss. I got a partial
Yeah.
hit, so it was just me.
So, anyways, you see all this, and so he says, yeah, like the impulse is to entice, right? So, as you reach the height of this song, and you like stand up to face the crowd and kind of drink it all in. You seem or like all of a sudden you seem like focused, right? Like usually you kind of stare out at the crowd and it's all just like a faceless sea of people, but now you like stand up and you look out and your gaze meets the gaze of a singular woman in the crowd, a face which you've seen before, and you can't seem to kind of take your stare away from hers.
She's got egg all over her.
Fuck you! I quit.
And as you like
Shit.
stare at her, she like stares back at you, seemingly like spellbound by the music. She said, unable to tear herself away.
Nice.
I think
Nice
that's.
job, this show.
Is there anything else that happens, or that's it, right?
I believe that's it for a given show.
Yeah. So
That was
yeah,
impressive. Cheval even like cracked his window in his office in order to hear the show because it was so good.
Sometimes I outdo even myself.
So yeah, I guess as the show
Someone should,
winds
like,
down.
Write down a record of this and, pass it on to Jasper. Just,
It was real good. Real good.
Jasper, it was like kind of this undescribable thing that like
You had to be there.
you had to
You
be
kinda
there.
had to be
It was
there.
like the greatest, most like inspiring thing that ever happened to anybody.
It'd be like hearing that the Pine Tree Frosty has ice cream, but never trying it. Like,
That'd be pretty awful.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
sorry.
So what do you do? I guess as the song winds down, this mirage kind of dissipates. But you see this lady on a on a barge out there paying attention.
Hmm.
Do you want to I guess you want to try to like seduce her or manipulate
Yeah, I
her
think
in
that-
some way?
Yeah, probably.
Isn't the show just like always seducing everybody in his crowd.
Essentially.
I think
yes,
that's
I think in this case,
There's a
I want
different
to
move for that, isn't there?
seduce
Yeah,
her
there is.
into, coming up onto Encore.
All right.
I fuck the
Come
shit
on,
out of that.
Encore. Nobody gets to come on Encore except the show.
No, I mean, there's definitely like lots of people who come onto Encore with some regularity. My bet is on Encore.
All right.
I'm not saying that it's like always full, but it's always full. Okay.
So you roll plus hot.
Why do you
okay.
think he needed the biggest egg?
Yeah. Listen, I got a lot of people to make omelets for. All right.
I got it. I'm with you.
Ooh, it's an 8. Nice. That one fucking die is such a bitch over there.
On a 7 to 9, choose one.
Wait, what? Is this seduce or manipulate?
Isn't
Yeah, seduce.
Yeah, but so that's for an NPC. They go along with you, but they'll need some concrete assurance, corroboration, or evidence first.
it? Yeah.
I'll make you an omelet, my dear.
So, you like lock eyes with this person, and I don't know what it is about the show's like gaze, but it has a way of kind of transfixing you there. So as the show kind of winds down and eventually people start to dissipate and Encore kind of like comes back in and gets like latched onto it, and it eventually like things have kind of quieted down, and you still see this woman standing there on the edge of the big time, waiting, still kind of just staring at the show as he's doing his thing. And eventually, like, the Encore docks with the big time in its normal slot, and she's like standing there like looking at you, seemingly waiting for you to say something.
To, dock in the normal slot.
Indeed. My dear, please come aboard.
She's kind of silent, and she looks like almost you see like a conflicted expression on her face, like she doesn't want to, but she's like having trouble leaving. She kind of says under her breath, like, I shouldn't, I can't.
The heart wants what the heart wants. No harm will come to you on Encore. It's the safest place in the entire big time.
Unless I miss my MC role, in which case, like, ow.
It just plummets to the ground.
I hold up one beautiful tomatillo.
Yeah.
The last remaining tomatillo. Of the 3 that I got, I'm sure there are lots of other ones on the ship.
Yeah. But, like, those were 3 really perfect ones, and this beautiful green, like, shining, like, almost chartreuse fruit that you have in your hand is
Yeah.
calls
Yeah.
to her.
All right. Yeah, she eventually she seems like she is kind of enthralled by you, and I'm sure the tomatillo helps a lot. So
It's just right over that edge, just pushes her.
she walks kind of across the gangplank onto the Encore and follows you wherever you lead her.
Yes, well, I mean, we're definitely gonna bang. Like, there's
Yeah.
no.
I was just going to say,
question
I know
about
this is not a PC, but could you again read your move, please?
Yeah,
For the
yeah,
benefit-
yeah,
For the
yeah.
benefit
Did
of
you,
Egg
did you
Lady?
say she walked across the gangplank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Onto
I
the
mean, it's
Encore.
kind of like a
I mean, like-
drawbridge, but
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
one of the
maybe-
types of my organ.
I'm not sure if Quell is wondering if it was supposed to be called like a bang plank, or if that's where he was going with that. But like,
Bang
I
plank.
I
sincerely
realized it
hope-
wasn't. I realized it was a joke not worth pursuing after I spoke.
I don't know. Every joke is worth
Good.
pursuing on
No,
Line
no,
from Beyond.
no. I actually agree with Quell on this.
Every
Uh,
joke on Line from Beyond. It's fine. It's all fair
uh,
game.
what was the
You were
question?
gonna read your
Oh
move
yeah.
for the
Right.
benefit
Everyone
of
has
Quell
their
and the Egg Lady.
everyone has their special sex move, right? And mine is if you and another character have sex, sweet.
That's great.
That's how it's supposed to be. But as has been made apparent previously, the show is androgynous in the extreme, knowing no bounds. And so, although everyone who has remained can see the show and this woman go below decks, cuts to black, and you never see exactly what happens between them. So you
Sure.
don't know.
Neither does she. Once she goes below decks, she's also not really sure what's going on.
Indeed, and she won't remember or be able to tell anyone what happened. Just that it was
That's a little
sweet.
dark. because of the implication.
Yeah.
They are on a boat, so that is.
But yes, we'll say that the hatch to the show's bedchambers closes, and the scene cuts to black.
You hear somebody shout, "Encore!" It's probably Egg Lady.
Play
It's definitely Egg
Freebird.
Lady.
And I guess.
By the way, I'm gonna try to get her name.
I was gonna say
during
I imagine that was maybe the one thing you wanted to try to
The
figure
next
out.
morning,
Yeah.
the show
Yeah.
comes out, and Quell's like, and you're like, and
And yes.
Her? All right. Yeah, I'm fine. At some point during the night, you kind of deduce her name. I imagine. In the morning,
say your name. Say your name.
in the morning, you wake up and she's seemingly long gone. And the only thing you can really remember from the haze that was the previous evening, is the name. Let's say
Lundmina.
Let's say.
what?
What did you say?
Let's
Quell?
say.
Yeah, that's what I thought he
Ludmilla.
was going. That's what I thought Kim was going for at first. He was like,
Ludmilla.
Lundmina.
Lundamina.
Fine.
Listen,
Fine.
we're on the
Figure
big
it
time.
out.
That's fine. Yeah.
Last time I'm helpful.
Lundmina is fine. That's awesome.
Lundamina. All right. How are we spelling that?
I imagine Lundmina.
All right, that's what I got.
That's how I'm
I'm just-
spelling it.
Glad we don't have Alex here to be like, no, there's 3 Y's.
Yeah. So I think we'll probably wrap up there. We've only got about 10 minutes, and it seems like a place. Maybe
That was a
we'll
pretty good stopping
we'll finish on what did Cheval and Quell think of the performance? Was it did it measure up to previous performances? Best ever? Kind of rough? What was the
Wept
Go ahead,
tears.
Quell.
Wept tears of joy. Quell is a big fan of the show and catches the performances whenever duties at the water barge do not prevent him from doing so, and he thought it was beautiful.
Cheval's heard it all, and not like in a dismissive way, but as in Cheval can almost tell the show's moods and things like that just from its music, and knows it. But as I had said, this one was worthy enough that a few minutes into it, Cheval even cracked open the window to his office so that as he worked, he could hear a few more strains of the notes than usual. And he allows himself to stop in his paperwork for a moment just to muse on Quell and whether or not, as he requested, Quell will be heading up to his chambers to discuss matters with him, all aflutter from the music.
And as he is thinking that, Quell is making his way towards Cheval's chambers.
Yeah.
maybe that's what we'll pick it up next time.
Fade to black.
You need to do the end of session
End of
moves
session
as
move,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Session
I figure
stuff.
we would just leave a couple of minutes for end of session moves. Let's do that, and then we'll pick it up next week.
Quell, do you have an actual end of session move? I don't think there are such.
I don't think so. Where do I?
It would
it's
be
not
in
on my-
your main moves, probably
It'd be
right
on your rule
where
book.
it said the water holder. It would be one of your moves is at the end of every session roll this.
I don't think so.
It's not something very many people have. I think it's just that everybody has to go through and decide who kind of knows them better or worse, and it affects your HX for.
I think 100% Quell knows me better. I mean, Quell also knows me probably the best of anybody ever, but because he's been with me for a long time. But he knows me better once we had that confrontation. We haven't really spoken much in years.
It has been some time.
Yeah.
Indeed, I also feel like I know Cheval better and that he knows me better.
Nice. All right.
Hmm.
On the show.
Yeah, show break this Die? Not really, but you pick.
I guess you can also decide that nobody really.
I think that's allowed, right?
Doesn't it have to be like someone knows you better or like someone knows you less well, or can you just say like no one knows you?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like one of those two.
I think it's better or worse. But if you think that somebody like decidedly knows you worse, then they take a negative one.
Right. I don't really feel like anyone knows me like worse.
If so, choose a character who knows you better than they used to. If there's more than one, choose at your whim. No, that's all it says. It doesn't say what to do in any. I mean, we can house rule it, but it just says choose a character who knows you better than they used to.
Otherwise, you could
Okay.
just roll if you can't choose.
I think Quell knows me better than he used to, because I don't know that he was entirely aware of like the extent of my interactions with the psychic maelstrom, and that's been a focus of this. Whereas Cheval and I go, back as far as it's possible to go. So,
All right. Remember, if you reach +4, you mark experience,
Or -4.
or -4.
I don't think it's -4. I think it's minus
Maybe
2 or
it's
3,
It's -3.
But if you reach +4, you mark experience.
and then set back to +1.
Yeah. You also mark experience if you roll one of the highlighted stats.
Right, but it's also that whenever you reset your resetting is hitting 4.
Resetting is hitting. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's +4
Gotcha.
or minus.
I thought that was any
Okay.
change, but okay, so it's just when you hit 4.
Yeah, if you get to 4 with somebody, you get an experience, and then you go down to +1.
Gotcha.
That's what the reset is.
Cool.
We all set?
Yeah, that was really good. Nice job there, MC.
I'll do
Yeah.
a little outro. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you all had fun. For anybody watching us here live, you should definitely go check out our YouTube, youtube.com/livefrombeyond, where we try to upload as much of all this as possible. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you should definitely come catch us live every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern at twitch.tv/livefrombeyond. Thanks for watching.